Yeah, I've decided to switch you to the view of what my camera is actually seeing now. But the next thing to worry about is, the light in your room. A problem with recording while it is, very bright in your room is that when you go into a game or whatever, the screen becomes black, but you don't see black, you just see a reflection. So I'm gonna fix that now by turning off the light in my room. Problem officially solved. Of course, the fact that I need it to be dark in the room in order to record means that, given that my computer happens to be in a room with windows, I can only record at the nighttime. Or at least, that used to be the case, but I got some lovely blackout curtains that block out the light from outside for situations like this, where I actually want it dark in my room during the daytime. So, that is very helpful. Now, I apparently have new Pokemon data. Wonderful. What did I get? Neat. Now, to the home menu. Now, for adjusting the camera settings, it's good to go into a game where you've got close by... my DS is not plugged in. When you're recording, it's a good idea to plug in your 3DS so you don't have to worry about the battery life. I'm going to do that now, before I forget again. I actually made the screen a little brighter, and I tipped the screen, so... yeah, this is not going to be perfect, but again, best you can do. Now, as I was saying, you want a game where you've got two areas very close by to each other, where one is rather dark and one is rather bright, because that helps you balance your camera's settings well. For me, I find Ocarina of Time 3D to be a decent choice for that, so we'll go with that. One thing I should mention is, obviously, you don't want to try recording in 3D. That will just... the whole trick with the 3DS is 3D. I'm sure you're aware of this, probably, but it only works because you have two eyes, whereas a camera is basically one eye. So you try and use that trick and it just distorts the picture like that. It's not pretty. Now we're gonna go ahead and load this up, and I think it's this file. Yes, it is. This is our dark area. It's not that dark, but it's dark enough, especially the area underneath that sign there. This'll do okay for adjusting settings. Now, a couple things, let's see. A couple things I'm gonna do right away. I don't know if recording quality actually affects it when I'm not technically using the camera, but I'll set it high anyway, just in case. Another thing I forgot to do, this camera can record interlaced, but I don't want interlaced, I want progressive frames, so I'm going to turn that on. Now let's back out here. I said let's back out of here. And mess up the position of the camera. I'll have to fix that later. Now, let's see. First off... whoa. Okay, first off, let's try and fix the focus here. It's a little too focused. You actually want to blur it a bit so that you don't see all those terrible, terrible lines on the screen. So, that being done... let's turn the exposure off automatic as well and bring that down a little bit because it's kinda bright. And let's see. We've got different... where are they? We've got different color modes here. This is a little too blue, actually. And that's looking pretty good. That, I think, is a little too red. That's looking pretty good. Cloudy or daylight? Well, that's looking pretty good, so we'll go with that. As you can see, it looks pretty good already. All it takes is a good positioning and just adjusting a few settings with your camera, and you can get some nice picture. Now... sorry, lost my train of thought there. Your camera has a zoom function, of course, and as you can see, I'm not actually using that, so I can zoom way in, whoa. But you don't want to do that if you can help it. Obviously, if you need to do that to get a better shot of the 3DS screen, go ahead. But in my experience, you get a better picture if you don't use the zoom function, so you try and get the camera as close to the screen as you can without it causing you any trouble, and then use the zoom from there if you absolutely have to. Now, let's see. Let's open this up, and I think the focus still needs to be taken down a bit. I'm not on focus, am I? Now I am. Let's take that down a bit. Don't want it to get too blurry, but you don't want it too focused either, because then that happens, and it looks horrible. And everyone cries. Or at least I do, because I'm put way too much importance on video quality. That seems to be making it too blurry. Let's try the other way. This seems to be working better. It's a real balancing act. Making it too blurry also makes it seem kind of brighter, but if you don't blur it enough, it just doesn't look good. Alright. I like how it is recognizing Link's face as a proper face. That's kind of fun. That's kind of funny. I think that might be blurred enough. We'll try that. And then... exposure! Let's bring this down more. But of course, we don't want to bring it down too far. Like, underneath the sign there is really dark, darker than it should be. Let's just try, say, -3, and then, like, try and balance it in a dark area, and then head to a bright area and see whether or not it's too bright. If it's too bright, then take it down a bit more. Let's see, out here seems a bit brighter than it should, and I bet it's going to be ludicrous in the really bright areas. So let's try taking this down a couple more notches. Actually, let me enable the preview on my computer, because that's usually the best way to tell. That seems pretty good. Let's go see Link's house again, see if it's too dark or not, and then I'll go check Hyrule Field, which is the brightest area I have access to. I don't think it really gets much brighter than that anyway. Ah, kinda lost. Kinda stopped looking at the screen for a moment there. Alright, let's see. Yeah, that's a tad dark. I'll just take it up 1, I guess. Doesn't really make much difference. Just 1 degree. Well, it's a tad dark, but it's okay. Probably the best I can do with it, so we'll go see Hyrule Field and see how that does. Overall, though, this seems like a pretty good balance. So yeah, this is how it goes. Obviously, if you're gonna be recording a 3DS the way I record it, you want a good bit of time stocked away before you get down to it, because you need time to set up, and then time to record after all that. So, let's see. Just get out here where it's nice and bright, nice blue sky, and that's kind of bright. I guess I'll settle for that. Is there any color type I can use to help this? No, those are bad. Wait, what did all those do anyway? Vivid? No. Neutral. Doesn't really do much, does it? Oh well. Digital effect, I don't... Whoa. Never mind. Are any of these better? No, too red. It's about the same as the other one. Yeah. I'm just gonna leave that alone. I think the focus needs to be blurred just a little bit more. Alright. And it's getting dark. Wonderful. Let's get out of here. Before the monsters come. Yeah, that's that's a pretty good balance of focus and brightness, I think. Let's get Link close up to the camera here and see how he looks. Yeah, that's pretty good. I think I'll go with this. So, yeah, camera's all set up. That covers how to set up the camera, how to set up the sound. One more thing though, there's a couple more things to cover, so I'll have to readjust the camera when I'm gonna record some stuff after this to show you at the end of this video. But for now, I'll adjust the camera in a bit. For now, I'm just gonna back out of here. And, one more thing, let's see, there's one more thing about recording that I should mention, and for this though, I think I should probably switch off to the desktop view again, so give me a moment. Ugh, this whole thing is a bit more complex than I'd like it to be, and I keep getting sidetracked and losing my train of thought. Now, you'll remember that I plugged the sound cable that's plugged into the 3DS. That plugged into the microphone jack on my computer. But you'll remember, I also split it off to my capture device, right? My HDP VR. Because the HDP VR now, the reason I go through all that trouble, the HDP VR, I can record the sound with it, but it records it way too quiet, and if I try and boost it, it has this horrible buzzy noise that I hate. Now, that's why I go to all the trouble of recording it separately with, like, WavePad, and adjusting the sound in the control panel and all that nonsense. But if I'm recording it separately like that, when I record it with WavePad, I need to take that recording and add it into the video. So obviously I need a way to easily line it up. So if the HDP VR's own video also has the game sound in it, even if it's very quiet, that gives me something to match up the audio to. But there is a problem with this. For some reason, when I split off the sound to my HDP VR like that, as long as it's connected to the HDP VR, the sound recording in WavePad actually gets a bit of this annoying buzzy noise. It's not as bad as the one in the capture device's video if I use the sound boost. But it's still there. It's still buzzy, it's still annoying, it's still not completely silent when it should be completely silent, and it drives me crazy. So, the way I would do this is start the video recording, and then WavePad is for the game sound, Audacity is picking up my microphone for, say, commentary, and they're easy to line up with each other if I just start them at about the same time, so I use the F5 shortcut key for WavePad and click record in Audacity at about the same time. And those are just automatically easily lined up. Now, for lining up the sound, for lining up the WavePad recording to the video later on, you just want to try and get in some sounds before your official recording that you're going to use that are easy to match up to. One thing in particular, I find you can't do this if you're in the middle of a game, obviously. But I find that one thing that's really easy to line up is speech, dialogue. The human voice is one of the easiest things to line up audio to, for me. Really, a lot of things are pretty easy. Most music works pretty well, but this is good too. You know, human voice is a pretty good, easy one.
Darkness isn't evil, and it's not really what frightens anyone. What frightens people is what lurks inside the darkness.
I'm not sure if I just wanted to use the human voice to line up, or if I just wanted to show myself being overly dramatic. Either way, that's a thing. And once you've got your bit of sound recorded for lining up the audio, just go on over to your HDP VR, or that's what I'm doing at least, and I unplug the sound cables so that I don't get that annoying buzzy noise in the part of the recording that's actually going to be on video. Easy peasy. Now, did I really just say that? Oh god, I really just said that. Now, that being done, you can go ahead and actually record your game, and... oh, yeah, one last thing. One last thing. You want to go into... I'm going to go into the camera menu and turn off Output On-Screen Displays. Turn that off. so that you no longer see the heads-up display on the recording. Kind of important that you don't see that, because that would be silly.